Now, before the death of the Queen, Princess Anne sat down with Chris Shipp, the ITV royal editor and Sunrise contributor.
Now, it was filmed in 2017. Anne opened up about her relationship with her mother, saying the Queen always led by example and understood what made society tick during her 7-decade reign.
In a shocking twist, Princess Anne has revealed the person she dislikes most, surprising many given her strong reputation for being calm and composed.
Princess Royal Princess Anne, she has opened up the room and opened up her schedule to do something she rarely does, conduct an interview with us.
The princess, known for her loyalty and strong sense of duty, has finally broken her silence on who betrayed her trust, leaving the public both curious and confused. Why is she choosing to speak about this now? And who could be behind this deep betrayal? Stay with us as we break down the full story and uncover all the details behind this unexpected and surprising confession. The dynamic between Princess Anne and Lady Diana. Princess Anne, the only daughter of Queen Elizabeth II, is often hailed as one of the most dedicated and industrious members of the royal family.
Princess Anne, who is known as the Princess Royal, has been for many years one of the hardest working members of the family.
With over 50 years of service under her belt, she has earned a reputation for her stoicism and tireless work ethic. Her commitment is often described as unmatched within the royal household, setting her apart as a dependable member of royal duty. However, while her straightforward and determined character has garnered admiration from many, it has not always gone down well with some members of the royal family. One of the most intriguing and publicly speculated relationships within the royal household has always been between Princess Anne and Diana, Princess of Wales. Their reportedly distraught dynamic has intrigued royal watchers for decades, as two women with contrasting personalities faced challenges in relating. Keep watching to find out more. From the moment Diana entered the royal family, friction between the two women was obvious. According to Ingrid Seward, editor-in-chief of Majesty magazine and author of Diana, An Intimate Portrait, Princess Anne's disdain for Diana was clear from the beginning. Seward reported that Princess Anne viewed the young and glamorous Diana as a silly girl. But the conflict between the two women came to a head prior to Diana's first appearance alongside the royal family at one of their favorite events. Princess Anne, who was deeply committed to her traditional royal duties, found it hard to warm to Diana's fresh and more modern approach to royal life. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, royal commentators often speculated about an ongoing feud between the Princess of Wales and the Princess Royal. Anne's serious approach to royal duty and her preference for staying out of the limelight sharply contrasted with Diana's charismatic and highly public persona. Royal expert Richard Kay noted that Anne had no time for Diana, suggesting that Anne's more traditional views on monarchy clashed with Diana's use of the media to promote herself. Anne, who rarely courted the press and preferred to carry out her duties quietly, reportedly looked down on Diana's fame.
Diana's public life began and ended the same way. From the minute her name was mentioned, even as the possible choice of Prince Charles to be his wife, to be the future queen.
Feeling that her sister-in-law's public image detracted from the solemnity of royal service. But that's not all. This disdain was particularly visible during the 1981 Ascot Race Week, just weeks before Diana's wedding to Prince Charles. In an infamous incident, Diana was reportedly met with Anne's cold demeanor. According to Seward, Diana looked up at Anne, only to be met with what was described as the searing force of Anne's scorn. Diana was so taken aback by Anne's coolness that she fled the room in tears. The moment of frosty interaction between the two was seen as an interpretation of the strained relationship between the two women. Miss Seward has claimed that Princess Anne was indifferent to Diana from the very beginning, adding that Anne treated the future queen with withering disdain. These claims were also backed up by Richard Kay, a royal expert and old friend of the Princess of Wales. The royal expert suggested that Anne had little patience for Diana's way of handling royal duties, particularly her reliance on the media to bolster her public image. Anne had a much more traditional approach to monarchy and royal duty, Kay noted, reinforcing the idea that the two women were always at odds in how they perceived their roles within the royal family. According to former BBC journalist Jeremy Paxman, the dynamic was also obvious when the late Princess Diana did not attend Anne's daughter Zara Tyndall's christening ceremony, which further worsened their ties. She had been telling friends beforehand that she had no intention of going, but rather, through a failure of manners or courage, it was not until 48 hours before the actual ceremony that she telephoned Princess Anne to inform her that she would not be there, royal author Ingrid Seward said. The tone of Anne's response would have chilled the Arctic. However, while Anne reportedly harbored a deep indifference towards Diana, the late Princess of Wales did not publicly reciprocate these feelings. In fact, Diana went so far as to express appreciation for Anne during a 1985 interview.
Now, do you have any sense of living in a state of rivalry with Princess Anne, as is said time and time again?
None at all. Princess Anne's been working incredibly hard to Save the Children Fund, and I'm her biggest fan, because what she crams into a day I could never achieve.
In which she described her sister-in-law as wonderful. She also said that she was Anne's biggest fan, marveling at how much Anne could achieve in a single day. This statement was a contrast to Anne's apparent coldness toward Diana, as shown in various public moments, including one interaction in 1982 when Anne appeared indifferent to the birth of Diana's first son, Prince William. In one widely discussed incident, Anne's reaction to the birth of Prince William raised eyebrows and sparked further speculation about her feelings toward Diana. When asked by journalists about Diana's new baby, Anne dryly responded, "I didn't know she had one." Her indifferent tone, followed by the terse comment, "Oh good," when informed of the birth, was interpreted by many as further evidence of her dislike for Diana. The footage from this exchange, captured during a royal tour in Santa Fe, New Mexico, resurfaced years later in the HBO documentary The Princess, reigniting discussions about the strained relationship between the two royal women. In addition to the Santa Fe footage, another moment that fueled the perception of Anne's animosity occurred during a press conference in Houston. When asked whether she thought there was too much fuss over the birth of a new royal baby, Anne replied simply, "Yes." To further emphasize her disinterest, she also mentioned that the baby may not grow up to like her, a response that did little to dispel rumors of a feud between the two women. Despite these seemingly cold interactions, some commentators have pointed out that Anne's relationship with Diana's children, particularly Prince Harry, was more positive. In her 2007 book, The Diana Chronicles, royal biographer Tina Brown noted that Anne had been especially supportive of Prince Harry during a challenging time in his life.
I think she'd be looking at it long term, to know that there are certain things that we need to go through to be able to heal the relationship.
Taking him on walks through the Balmoral wilderness. This warmth towards the late Princess of Wales's children suggests that while Anne and Diana may have had a difficult relationship, Anne's affection for Diana's children was genuine. Over the years, there has been a deep feeling of animosity over another member of the royal family: the dynamics between Princess Anne and Meghan Markle. While the relationship with Princess Anne and Lady Diana has often been viewed as animus and cold, Princess Anne's relationship with Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, is no different. It has been widely reported that Meghan has a great relationship with Princess Anne's mother, Queen Elizabeth II. The same cannot be said about her relationship with Princess Anne. From the moment Meghan married Prince Harry in 2018, Princess Anne had her reservations.
Through an arch of white roses, they emerge man and wife. Their first official duty, a kiss.
Princess Anne, now 73, reportedly believed that Meghan, 42, would have a short shelf life within the royal family, a prediction that turned out to be true years before Megxit, a widely popular term used to define when, in 2020, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex stepped back from royal duties and moved to Montecito, California. Royal expert Neil Sean shared insights about their first meeting, which he described as a pivotal moment for Meghan. According to Sean, Princess Anne offered very wise advice, stressing the seriousness of royal responsibilities. "This senior royal takes no nonsense, much like her father, the late Duke of Edinburgh," he remarked. Anne advised Meghan to approach her royal role as a genuine job rather than a platform for fame. In many ways, Princess Anne's straightforward attitude mirrors the challenges faced by Princess Diana. Both women dealt with the complexities of royal life and often felt caught between their personal desires and the expectations of the monarchy. Despite Anne's sound advice, Sean noted that Meghan failed to warm to her, leading the seasoned royal to believe that the Duchess's time in the family would be limited. While Anne remains one of the hardest-working royals, she also has a soft spot for Harry, even as she grapples with his decision to leave royal life. In recent comments, Jenny Bond, author of Reporting Royalty, revealed that Anne has grown increasingly displeased with Harry, especially after the release of his memoir, Spare, and following his sudden exit from any form of royal duty. Bond suggested that Anne is upset with the damage Harry has caused to the royal reputation, as she is known for her dedication and honesty. Additionally, Princess Anne, who appeared to be taking a subtle hit at Meghan and Prince Harry, has voiced her concerns about the future of the monarchy in light of Harry and Meghan's exit. In an interview with Canada's CBC News, she remarked that the idea of a slimmed-down monarchy doesn't sound like a good idea from where I'm standing. Through these insights, it's clear that Princess Anne has strong opinions about the evolving royal family dynamics, revealing her frustrations and concerns while maintaining her commitment to duty.
The villain Prince Harry is referring to is Camilla, King Charles's wife and now Queen Consort. In his book Spare, he even labels her dangerous, accusing her of leaking stories to the tabloids.
With a family built on hierarchy, and with her on the way to being Queen Consort, there was going to be people or bodies left in the street because of that.
In a shocking turn of events, Camilla has found herself at the center of a royal storm involving leaking sensitive information about Prince Harry's personal life.
Prince Harry has described the Duchess of Cornwall as dangerous. Queen Consort, of course, she is now. He accuses his stepmother of having willingly traded information with journalists.
The Duchess of Cornwall is well known for her discreet nature and has seemingly been involved once again in the royal family drama concerning long-held secrets about Prince Harry's personal life, the hidden truth behind Diana's death, and the deep secret concerning the royal family no one knew about.
Kate Middleton gives a heartfelt speech about the mental health of children, insisting, "This is something I really do care about."
My own journey into understanding the importance of early childhood actually started with adults and not with children. It was about prevention. I wanted to understand what more we could do to help prevent some of today's toughest social challenges, and what more we could do to help with the rising rates of poor mental health.
While many philanthropists are known for supporting various causes by donating large sums of money and making brief public appearances, Princess Catherine prefers to take a more practical approach. She endeavors to meet the people in person, speaking with them and offering the encouragement they need. Because of these personal encounters, there are many stories of children who almost gave up on life but began to smile again after a friendly, unexpected visit from the princess.
Kate Middleton made an appearance to open the redeveloped Children's Center at the hospital, and she was greeted by fans outside. One little girl gave her 2 stuffed bears.
What happened during these visits? What did she say to them? Join us as we explore some of these heartwarming stories and the many deeds of Catherine Middleton. Craig's big moment with the princess. Catherine Middleton is known for getting deeply involved in various charities, with many efforts focusing on children's mental health, early childhood development, and the family's well-being. Many of her initiatives highlight these commitments, such as the Royal Foundation for Early Childhood, aimed at helping parents and older people understand the importance of early childhood experiences. Unlike many philanthropists, Catherine is known for directly getting involved in humanitarian efforts as much as she can. This was made evident in January of 2018, when Catherine and her husband traveled to Coventry to catch up with royal appointments. Among these engagements were a visit to the city's cathedral, a renowned cafe built to provide work opportunities to recovering addicts, and Coventry University's new science and health building. Catherine and her husband were familiarizing themselves with the Positive Youth Foundation,
William and I are absolutely delighted to be with you here in Birmingham on World Mental Health Day for our Royal Foundation Youth Forum. William and I continue to be inspired to see young people, like you all here today, leading this charge.
An initiative formed to help young people get better careers and opportunities. It was then when they came across a little boy who looked sick. Upon seeing the boy, Catherine immediately got involved, walking over to him and handing over a sick bag. The boy's eyes widened as he saw the Princess of Wales gently placing her hands on him to make sure he felt better. Craig Skipper, the 10-year-old boy, had begun to feel sick after waiting 3 hours for Catherine and her husband to arrive. And when they did arrive, the child was looking tired, like was about to faint. Concerned about the young boy, Catherine bent down to talk to him. With concern in her eyes, she had gone to one of her bodyguards and returned with a brown paper bag for the boy. Thankfully, the boy didn't need it, as he felt better not long afterwards. To the Princess of Wales, this was just one encounter out of several, but to the young boy, this would be a moment he would never forget. Carol Flynn, a learning mentor at the nearby school, spoke about this, stating how Catherine took her time with Craig. It was obvious she was a mother. According to Flynn, she could almost see the love in her eyes at that point. This moment highlighted her instinctive caring nature for children, but it wasn't the only time something like this happened. Solving puzzles with the princess. Catherine's motherly nature was most apparent when she joined the pupils of St. John's Church of England primary school in a craft lesson.
The Princess of Wales talked with young students about connecting with others and experiencing different feelings. She sat down with children from St. John's Church of England primary school in Bethnal Green, London's East End, and joined them for a craft lesson.
She got to work with the children, solving puzzles and building blocks as she talked to them about mental health in the simplest words they could understand. As she worked with the children, she asked each of them how they coped with their emotions. The princess had supported the various charities that established the Children's Mental Health Week, a period set apart for different activities aimed at helping children achieve and enjoy complete mental and emotional well-being. This period was established in 2015, with a mandate for all week schools, families, and youth groups to get involved in the initiative. Catherine had shared her convictions about this multiple times, stating it as very good for emotional health and well-being. The princess stated she was a firm believer in giving children the tools needed for navigating the mental issues that come with growing up, and she demonstrated that in this encounter with the children. During the crafts lesson, a young boy told the princess how connecting helps him express how he feels to people around him.
The project we're working is connecting with others.
And why is that important, do you think?
Connecting releases our emotions to your other people that you care about.
Absolutely.
After the princess responded, another classmate spoke about how she coped with her strong feelings by taking deep breaths and drinking some water. When the session came to an end, Catherine encouraged the children to always express how they felt to those who cared about them, while asking others to do the same as well. Today, Princess Catherine is known for providing the funding needed to run several hospitals and caring homes. Among these centers is the Evelina London Children's Hospital, whose efforts in providing healthcare services to children and young adults have been praised by the royal family. As we shall see, each of her visits to these hospitals made headlines. Catherine's hospital visits and experiences. Perhaps the most notable of her visits to the Children's Hospital was in December 2018, when Catherine and her husband announced they would be patronizing the establishment moving forward. This brought smiles to the faces of many, and the event was marked by Catherine's interactions with the children receiving treatment. She showed great empathy to the little ones, putting them at ease at a time of great distress. She also spoke with some of them about their experiences by offering words of comfort and encouragement. Being very practical in interacting with children, Catherine took part in various activities. She joined them in making decorations and pictures, creating a peaceful atmosphere that lifted their little minds. After interacting with the children, Catherine took the time to speak with the hospital staff, appreciating them for their hard work and dedication to the young children. The Princess of Wales made her next visit in February 2019, to celebrate the hospital's 150th anniversary. As usual, she joined the children in making birthday cards for the hospital, bringing attention to the establishment's history, latest achievements, and ongoing efforts to help children across London and beyond. It was celebrated in grand style, and her next visit was scheduled for the following year, but something unexpected came up. As we all know, the pandemic of 2020 triggered a lot of restrictions around the world, and London was not an exception. So the princess had to adapt to the times by engaging with the hospital virtually. Wanting to provide comfort and entertainment at a difficult time, Catherine took part in a virtual storytelling session with the children watching from the hospital. She read stories from different books to the little ones as they listened with excitement. After that, she had a separate session with the hospital staff to discuss the challenges they had with the many restrictions that came with the pandemic. She encouraged them to keep pushing forward while expressing her gratitude, promising to keep supporting the hospital as she always had.
Over the last 9 months, the pandemic has been a worrying time for us all. We've experienced isolation, loss, and uncertainty. But in the midst of this crisis, we've also seen huge acts of kindness, generosity, and empathy.
Aside from this, Princess Catherine has also been a patron of East Anglia's children's hospices. Known to many as EACH, the charity offers care and support for children with life-threatening conditions, along with their families across East Anglia. She became the royal patron in 2012, early in her role as Princess of Wales. This decision was influenced by her natural interest in children's health and the well-being of the family. This act alone helped raise the profile of EACH, bringing greater awareness about what they do and its importance. Not long after doing this, Catherine opened the Treehouse, a new caring home for the terminally ill, in March of that same year. It was one of her first single engagements, and it marked the start of her direct involvement in charity. There, she met with the families of the children, showing great empathy and helping them feel heard and understood. She ended the occasion with a heartfelt speech, showing admiration for the children's courage while explaining the importance of the EACH initiative. However, royal patronage was not enough to build these caring homes and keep them running at full capacity. Enter the fundraising campaigns, an opportunity for people who admire the works of the organization to get involved by their contributions. Catherine's presence has played an active role in supporting these fundraising campaigns, using her platform to encourage participation among those interested. Along with these attempts was the famous Nook Appeal, which was launched in 2014. It was a major fundraising campaign put up to build a new caring home with the latest technologies in Norfolk. Thanks to her influence, the campaign was able to raise the £10 million needed for the project to work. She attended the celebration ceremony in 2015 and returned 4 years later to open the caring home, now named after the campaign, The Nook. What followed was numerous attendances at galas and private events to raise awareness of the initiative and her numerous personal visits to the caring homes. Often carried out privately, Catherine uses the chance to connect personally with some of the children, participating in various activities including music therapy sessions and outdoor activities. Many caregivers at the homes have told stories of how children had given up hope before having a private visit from the princess. Afterwards, they become inspired to fight for their lives with smiles on their faces. For the parents whose children had the most terminal cases, Catherine offered a listening ear, doing the least she could do so they could at least feel heard and supported to the bitter end. These efforts weren't stopped by the pandemic either, as through virtual calls and visits, the princess continued to support the initiatives despite the restrictions. This was made evident during Children's Hospice Week in May of 2020. This time, she took part in a virtual call with families and staff from EACH, also joining in a virtual storytelling session with the children.
Hello guys! Hi! Hello.
Prince William and Kate Middleton couldn't have chosen a better cause for their first video call.
Her narration of The Owl Who Was Afraid of the Dark was most thrilling, with children giggling in excitement as they heard the princess read them the story. The Royal Marsden Hospital also gets support from the princess, known for its intensive research and care for patients battling with cancer. She also raises awareness of the issues addressed by these hospitals while making sure they can continue helping people as they always have. Her first visit to the Royal Marsden Hospital was in September of 2011, not long after her marriage to Prince William. This was part of her earliest attempts to get familiar with the charitable causes and organizations that have been supported by the royal family. Since 2007, Prince William has always been the president of the Royal Marsden, continuing the legacy of his mother, Princess Diana. Catherine and her husband met with the young cancer patients, talking with the children and their families while offering words of comfort and encouragement. The hospital usually put children through therapeutic activities to reduce stress. This time, Catherine took part in several of them. Among these sessions were simple crafts, painting and playing games, creating a relaxing and joyful atmosphere. While these events were designed to do just that, having the princess directly involved was a game changer. Though the main purpose of the royal couple's arrival was to draw public attention to the Royal Marsden's work in cancer care and research, Catherine couldn't help but spend much of her time playing and talking with the children, as she always did. Her next notable visit was in October 2015, when she visited the Oak Center for Children and Young People at Royal Marsden Hospital. This visit was focused on the specialized care given to young cancer patients. As usual, she interacted with the children by listening and showing support in the best ways she could, especially those facing the most painful treatments and longest stays at the hospital. The stories Catherine heard from these children were so dark that she wanted them to escape the realities of their illness, even though it was just for a moment. So they got into therapeutic activities as soon as possible, engaging in playful sessions that brought smiles to the faces of the children who were in pain. Still having the children in mind, Catherine spoke with the doctors to learn more about the terminal cases some of the children were facing. Though their hard work was promising, a lot of the children were suffering terribly, and something needed to be done to improve patient care. So, for the next 2 years, several improvements were made to the Oak Center for Children and Young People and the Royal Marsden Hospital. Among these improvements was an increased capacity to accommodate more patients. This way, the hospital would treat a much greater number of children and young people with cancer. They did this by providing more inpatient beds and spaces for daycare. This way, there would be more flexibility for both long-term stays and outpatient treatments. These services were more streamlined for effective care, with many areas redesigned to better meet the needs of children and their families, providing more space for consultations, treatments, and recovery. The treatment rooms at the Oak Center were upgraded with state-of-the-art technologies to improve healthcare.
I love being a patient at the new Adventist Healthcare White Oak Medical Center. Everything is so modern and welcoming. It's like being right at home. And since I've trusted them with my health for years, I know I can expect the highest quality care.
Among these upgrades were new fusion beds and advanced imaging and monitoring systems to support more effective and less invasive methods of treatment. But that wasn't all. They also brought in the latest technologies in radiotherapy and chemotherapy, designed to provide the best possible treatment options suitable for young patients. On top of this, they improved the family support systems, adding multiple family waiting rooms so parents would feel comfortable during their children's treatment. Special places for relaxation and play were also added to help the children relax much more before and after difficult treatments. The whole center was redesigned with a child-friendly aesthetic to make it feel less than a clinical environment. This meant the inclusion of bright, colorful decorations, interactive art installations, and specially themed rooms to make the hospital feel less intimidating for the young patients. There were also new sensory rooms and therapy spaces to support emotional well-being.
This is the multi-sensory environment, and what it is an environment that provides different multi-sensory experiences to help with things like learning and alertness and arousal. Well, we received this room through a grant.
These rooms were equipped with sensory aids and special elements designed to provide a calming environment for children undergoing treatment. There were new dedicated research spaces within the Oak Center, created so there would be closer collaboration between researchers and caregivers at the health center. This way, the latest studies would be integrated into patient care as soon as possible. Staff members were also educated so they could be able to help patients based on the latest findings from the scientists. With these improvements made, Catherine hoped the terminally ill children would be seen in much better shape by her next visit. So, in February of 2017, 2 years after the last visit, Catherine returned to the Royal Marsden to see the newly reconstructed Oak Center facilities. There, the princess was given a tour of the rebuilt section, showing keen interest in the progress made in improving medical care for the children. Then came the moment she had been waiting for, an interaction with the long-term patients. This time, the stories she heard were a lot more hopeful than the last time she visited. This was a joyful moment for the princess, as the new stories she heard implied that the patients were receiving much better care than before, meaning the hard work geared towards rebuilding the center was not for nothing. The patients were grateful, and Catherine was happy. But it wasn't over yet. There were still a lot of things that needed to be done, as it is with most research surrounding cancer treatment. So, on February 2019, Catherine visited the Royal Marsden to engage with the team of scientists responsible for cancer research for children.